Hey everyone, John Henry here from School of Trade. Today we're going to be taking a look at a short trade here on the Dow. Oh, we got one of the contracts filled. We didn't get all of them. Looking to the downside here for a wave pattern short. First target coming off at 16,891. Final target getting stacked up around this 16,860 area at 16,864 for that final target. So the overall movement of the day on the Dow is actually quite interesting. It was a relatively strong push higher, and then we just got stuck in this range that we're seeing right now. And inside this range, we are seeing quite a bit of bearishness coming in off of the highs, especially given the fact that it made just a one or two tick new high and then dumped off the highs, making a very, very solid run to the downside. And that really gives us some emphasis that the bears are here, and they're here to stay. We've got a lot of selling pressure, and it looks more so like they're ready to try to get this to reverse direction back to the downside. So we have a really, really nice looking wave pattern short. It's a 1-2-3 reversal off the highs, and we came directly into our late trigger zone here. Kind of a last chance opportunity for the sellers to take this. Back underneath the BMT, everything looking good, really, really big wave pattern back to the downside. So now it's just a matter of giving it the time it needs to work its way lower. We do have news that just came out here, and you can see a little bit of fluctuation around, but overall not really much of a reaction there. And the first target from our entry price here, we're looking at taking our first target off at 91. It's going to be 18 ticks. And then the secondary target past that, we're looking a little bit farther down for that final target at 864 for 45 ticks. So everything looking solid in the general sense of things. We're seeing a lot of bearishness coming into the market. It's just a matter of how far does this thing want to go. Now, the Dow is, if you're not familiar with it, a $5 per tick type of market. So because of that being kind of the case in this situation, you can trade a little bit larger if you would like. It all depends on what your risk kind of deems necessary. Because we're trading such a large wave pattern, we really only have to trade 4. You could get away with less. You could take more if you want to. The risk stays the same. The overall reward does kind of go up a little bit, especially considering the size of this wave pattern. So keep that in mind when you're talking about the Dow. Overall, though, 2 off at 18, 2 off at 45, you can get them hit. It's 126 ticks at $5 a tick. That's $630 on the trade. So we can get this move going down lower. Our first target waiting around the corner at 891 and looking for further continuation down a little bit farther. No, I'm sorry. This is that's the wrong location. That was because it got split filled. We need to go down to 16,886. There we go, 16,886. That looks a little bit better. Back down to where it's supposed to be here. That's a 23-tick first target. But again, just waiting for that first target at 886 and just kind of waiting for the rest of it. So that changes it. It's 91 ticks instead. Slightly different situation. But either way, looking at the exact same pattern, just looking to ride this thing a little bit lower. So first target around the corner, just got to see if we can get it hit. All right, seeing some consistent bearishness coming into the market, and there we go. We got our first target filled at 86. Stop goes right to break even here. We'll lock in at 908, and now it's just a matter of going along with the move. Now, this type of day, because it has been a little bit more range bound, you can't really trail with the cloud because there's a good chance it's going to whip you out. So you have to use a little bit more of a conservative stop if you want to trail along with price. So because of that, we're going to be trailing along with the BMT instead. Slightly different type of variable on there, but overall still looking pretty solid. We got that first target filled at 23 ticks, looking for a little further continuation down to the downside through the lows. That's going to be the big part, is breaking through the 78 area and then seeing what the reaction is to that. And as long as we can break down underneath that, we should be clear and all systems go for a nice move to the downside and hopefully into our next target at 864. All right, so we're seeing a really, really strong burst to the downside here, all in one direction. Okay, well, I guess we get our target filled anyway. I was going to lock in along with the cloud here because this was such a parabolic move. I don't want to give anything back. It's kind of a situation like we saw back here where it just got hammered lower and then it takes a break. And it usually will break above the BMT at that point. We don't really want to deal with that. So I was going to lock my stop in a little bit tighter, but we got our target filled. So beautiful move to the downside. Overall, we ended up 136 ticks, 2 off at 23, 2 off at 45. That's $680 on the downside. Gorgeous move, perfect setup, beautiful last chance wave pattern to the downside on a relatively strong move, seeing conviction from the sellers. Can't really ask for much more than that. So that's going to do it for this. If you have any questions about it, feel free to send an email to School of Trade. Don't forget to check out our trial at schooloftrade.com. And as always, we'll catch you next time.